Hello and welcome to the Tarkus Zone. Thank you for joining me. Today we're playing Palworld and we're going to be doing some general game footage. I'm going to give you an update of where I'm at in the game. We're just going to go to join the multiplayer game. I'm still at the same server I have been, Pathfinders. It's under the community server bucket. We're at day 1118. Right now I'll be the only player on the server. Now, you got to understand that this game is new and they have not added, or the development team hasn't added a lot to the Endgame process. So right now, most of the people that have been on this server have maximized the game, basically, because right now we're just waiting for new content. But for those who haven't played the game and want to watch this video about what you can end up with at the end game, then I'm going to show it to you. All right, the game has signage. One of the things I did early on was nab a few of the merchants in the game. You were able to capture them, tame them, and then you can have them in your list of pals. So I've got a few of the humans. I'm going to pull out one of my Anubises, and we'll just go to the Wandering Merchant. So I just dropped the Wandering Merchant into my workforce. It ran over here, went to bed. There it is right there. Now, what's nice about having the merchant in your workforce is you can just communicate with them and buy and sell to them while they're in your workforce. And for this merchant, I do a lot of selling to it. So when I have surpluses of items, I just sell it to the merchant. I can pull it right out. I've also got the PAL merchant too. So anytime I want to get rid of PALs that I don't want to do the merging process with or the blendering, I'll sell them to the PAL merchant for the coinage. So one of the things, the end game is these cabinets. Now let's quickly talk about those, the storage. That would be here. Each item here in the list, in the radial, has different storage options, from the barrel to the refined metal chest to the wooden shelf to the wooden barrel shelf. Now I'll say this is what I like is the end game one, the refined metal chest. Holds a lot of items. It's kind of neat. The other thing that holds items is the large container. I like how those look also. So it's kind of hit and miss with that. All the other ones are, I look at most of these storage options in the two radials here, because by the time you get to end game, you've unlocked all of these and you've unlocked all of these. That if you're just looking for environmental or ambiance in your place, put whatever you want down, which you'll see that I did. If you walk around my building, I've added the barrels, I've added the wine barrels, the cabinets, or you'll find them up here. I got a bunch of them. Now I'm not utilizing these for storage. I'm just utilizing them for how they look. And then I've got the bookshelf over here, then I've got the wall cabinet, and then you've got, the dressers. I mean, basically, if you want to store large volumes of items in this game, then go with the two that hold the highest value, item value. In this one here, if I open it, the refined metal chest holds all this, and then the big one holds almost just as much. So there you go. I mean, between those two, you should be good to go. Up to the fact that I, hadn't unlocked this. The other one was this one here. This is just the metal chest. It holds, as you can see here, I wish they would just give you a total number it holds without me having to count it. The other thing I wanted to show you was this one here, the antique armoire. I'm just going to throw it right here. This one here, I used quite a bit early game. This one here that I'm building, it's going to take me 8 minutes to build it, only because everyone's sleeping and they're not helping me, you bozos. Get up and help me. Yeah, some of my guys are in the weakened state. I'm going to explain that in a second, what I've been doing around that. So we'll just let the pals finish that. But this is the one I used mostly until I unlocked this chest here and then was able to unlock this one. I don't have many of the armoires around. I don't even think I've got one in here anymore. No, I replaced it with the bigger chests. Now let's talk about the weakened state. Let's talk about the debuffs that you pals have. Up to now, I have used 0 medicines in this game. I've not used them at all. And I know it's a big portion of this game is making the medicines, giving them to the pals that need it. But what I end up doing is just pulling them out of my workforce. So what I'll do is I'll just scan over here. This one's weakened. I'm going to pull that one out. I'm just right-clicking on it to pull it out. This one's weakened, right-click. And this one's weakened, right-click. So I lost 3 gardeners and one of my cooks. So what I end up doing is just going through my list and seeing where I can just replace those. So right now, I could just replace the ones that I gardened. Here's one. Oh, that one's got clumsy. Let's just go to here, because there's quite a few of them that I have in my workforce that I can bring in. Oh, that one's just hungry. So we can just bring that one in. I must have dropped it to the pal box as well. It was hungry. This one's fractured. Okay, here's one here. That one's a slacker. Let's just pull this one down. And then let's just pull this one down, because there's quite a bit. And that replaces the 3 farmers I basically from picking to planting. And then I lost a fire. I pulled a fire pal out. So we just got to find one to replace it. And let's just go with actually this is the back end of my list. I think my fire pals are here. So let's just replace it with because this is the one I think that one's weakened. That one's weakened. That one's hungry and depressed. That one's depressed. Let's just bring out one of these. Okay, so that's what I've done. So what's eventually going to happen is all the ones that have a debuff, those will get resolved as long as they stay in the PAL box. I don't know what the actual time is, but I usually go 24 hours. I can go into the PAL box and all the debuffs are clean. So other than the hungry debuff, if you put it in the hopper or in your PAL box, the management system, and it's hungry, when you pull it out, it's going to be hungry. But the other debuffs that we were looking at, I'll just go here quickly. So let's just go to the back end, because I know I've got a couple there that landed in the back end. Like this one here, it's got weakened. And then this one here is got weakened. In 24 hours, those debuffs will be gone, and I can pull them back out into the workforce. So the only way, to make this go smoothly for you is to just have a bunch of things in your PAL box that can be replaced. Like all these Anubises, anytime I got an Anubis with a problem, I just pull out another Anubis and replace it. And then I just wait for the problem to go away. In the game, you're probably asking yourself, well, that that might not be the most efficient way of doing it. Well, I'll tell you what, I got leaps and bounds of everything I absolutely need in this game. And my minions or my pals did it all for me. So I've never really jacked them up in levels unless they had a unique ability that I needed. The Anubises do. And let's just say this one here that I got, the Caparetti, or I'm butchering that name, but let's just call it the thing with the berries on the back of it. I do have a couple of these that are in the rank 2, because this one right here, this one's rank 2. And what I've done here is I'm able to not run berry farms at all. I just got to throw one of these rank 2 guys in a ranch, and it will produce all the berries that I need. So that was the only reason why I ranked that guy up. But for the rest of the other stuff, just pulling a level 1 and replacing a level 1 seems to be fine for me. I have used 0 medicines in this game. I haven't made them. I think even when I collect them, they've just been sitting in, when I collect them, they just sit in whatever random, so like the medicine or the medical supplies or anything like that, I have yet to utilize that mechanic of this game at all. 0. Because I'm just swapping them in and out of the PAL box when the debuff goes away. All right, so the other thing I wanted to look at right here is the incubators. I have 150 of the egg incubators on site at this location. There are some people that have commented that we should have just reduced the the egg incubator time so that, they were instant, meaning that once you put the egg in, it instantly made it. Our server is a private server, but we kept the settings to whatever the default developer settings, what the developers wanted it to be. So sometimes when I put an egg in this thing, it could take 3 days for it to hatch. What I want to tell you in the process of doing the incubation, always keep a fire pit within radius of them. It will speed up the incubation period by 50%. So when you look at these, I've got fire pits, and how I did the rising so I didn't burn myself is I put one of those barrels down. I put one of these wooden barrels underneath it, built the wooden barrel, then built the fire pit, then I deleted or removed the barrel. And I do that so that I don't get myself on fire when I'm running around. On this, I put the fire pits behind the actual benches. See, I've got the fire pits in a place where I'm not going to walk over them. Same thing on this side. So every time you put an incubator down, make sure you got a fire pit next to it. And it's just a basic fire pit. And it will do whatever, they'll keep those things warm to a level in which you get the 50% bonus on the timer. All right. So let's just do another thing up here I wanted to talk about real quick. All right. So you've got to understand that you only can go so high from your PAL box. They limit you to how high you can build a building in this game. And I'm just going to show you where that is at the very top of this tower. All right, so we're at the very top of the tower. There's a sign right here, right? It's kind of dirty. Okay. On this sign, you'll see there's a blue line that cuts across the middle of the sign right above the Tarkus Zone Productions. That same blue line you'll see on this globe. That means this is the highest level I can go. And if I go any higher, if I were to build any higher than this, it will allow me to do it. All right? Okay? What is you see the blue line on this wall? This wall will be fine. It's the wall above it that the world will gobble up over a few days. It will just disappear out of the world because it's no longer under my protection radius of my PAL box management system because I'm beyond the level in which it is. And if I go over here, you'll see there's a circle on the ground. Do you see that blue circle on the ground? Same thing is, that's your footprint. Now, this is my thoughts about that. I would like the system to allow you to manage that circle where if you want to forfeit a second PAL box or a third PAL box and just integrate it in your current PAL box to double your footprint, I would be all for that. So that would be nice that you're not limited, and we'll just go down. We'll just drop down here. It'd be nice if you weren't limited to that blue circle. You know what I mean? See that down there? Because that just allows you to only build so large. You only can go so far. But if you could make it so that you could double it, if there was no one near you and there wasn't a conflict in property ownership, that instead of putting a second or third PAL box down, you could go to your PAL box management system and just say to it, I want to incorporate a PAL box into this PAL box, and then it doubles your platform, but it also will double your workforce for whatever workforce you have at the time, depending on the level of your base. My base here is level 20th, so I've got the maximum PALs, which for this server is 15, and the maximum amount of bases I can own are 3. But in my scenario, I would give up one of those to merge it into this one and then double my footprint. And this way I could build more of a town than just a base. But that's just my thoughts on it. So this is, this base is where I started the game. I just been slowly building it. It didn't take me long. I've been really solo playing this game, so I haven't had a lot of I've had interactions with people on the server, but I've had nobody come to my home and help me build and give me resources. I've done this all on my own, and I'm 48th level. And it's an open concept to let the light in, but it also is built to the fact where I can jump around the areas without getting injured if I just want to drop one level down. I've incorporated these areas of comfort areas, I call them, or decor areas. There's another building over here I've made. And before I even got the ability to fly with my flyer, actually, let me just bring my flyer out here and jump on it so we can see this building in its aerial. Before I got the ability to ride or fly, I built an entire stair system down to the beach so that I could get down on this side of my structure. And you can see I dotted the landscape with fire pits. So I dotted the entire landscape with fire pits all the way down to the beach. And because that was before I could fly. But now I can fly, so I just jump on my flyer and fly around and get to where I need to go. And this, I'm just doing this just to show you, how big this structure is. But again, it would be nice, it'd be nicer if you could manage the circle to be larger. And I don't know if they are even considering suggestions like that, but it would be nice if that was the case. Also, the way the guild management system works in this game doesn't make a lot of sense to me. When we first started playing on this game, on the server, many of the people joined the same guild. But the thing about that is you're very limited to how many minions or pals you can have running around, because it's basically based on one pal box. So if there's 5 people in the guild, you're still only working with one pal box. But if these guys leave the guild, they get their own pal box and their own set of pals to run. So the game kind of penalizes you for being in a larger group. And that's what most of these guys did, was leave the guild so they could go off and do their own thing and manage their own workforce instead of being pigeoned into working the same PAL box with 4 or 5 other people. And if somebody went into the management system and pulled a PAL out that belonged to somebody else, it's now in their inventory and the other person loses it, or they don't have access to it. I mean, it seemed a little dirty to me, so let's hope they fix that part of the game, is making the guilds, or maybe just having an alliance system where you can ally yourselves with other people, but it doesn't affect your workforce, right? Or what you're doing. And it also allows for you could be in your own channel with these alliance people, your own global world chat channel, or even if they had the ability to making it an easier group up system where you can just group up and do world bosses. I mean, that would be a nice way of doing it. All right, well, that's just an update so far in the game. I'm 48th level. I'm kind of waiting for the new content to come out. I've exhausted, I think, what I wanted out of this game. It's been very enjoyable. I very much like this game. It's just that I just think the developers need to give us a little bit more meat and potatoes towards the back end, so that it feels like, raid bosses or world bosses that require more than one person. Because right now, at 48th level, there's not really anything I can't just solo. So that's it. I mean, it would be nice if they dumped a bunch of bosses in the world that can't be soloed, that you must have a party with you, or at least some sort of help with you. That would be nice. All right, well, thank you for joining me, and this has been the Tarkus Zone.